Thank you all for joining us, and we're going to take a brief roll call. Ray's going to go back to her seat in a moment. Okay, so Ray, can you
Unmute yourselves.
Unmute yourself, please, and then we will take the roll.
Mary and Esther are still showing muted.
Yes.
It wasn't there.
We'll be back there shortly.
You know,
Okay,
I am
Carol
very happy you
Arasian?
don't see me.
Yes, here.
Esther Keeney. I
Yep.
saw Esther.
Yep.
Mary Keenan. Tom Lewis.
Present?
Janet McCullough. I think Jen, you spoke with her. She's not going to make it. Roxy.
Yes, I'm here.
Arlene. And then Anne Marie, Marina, and Margie.
There you go. Great.
Dorothy Jean is
But-
still trying.
Mary's here. She's just.
Carol's here.
Carol Arasian. Yeah, I said her first.
Carol, you might want to unmute yourself. Carol, unmute yourself, please.
Okay. All right, everybody. So the first meeting of the agenda, the piece on the agenda is our minutes from our October 14th meeting. I had included them in the email to everybody if you had a chance to review them.
Nice comprehensive minutes.
That would be Ray. Thanks, Ray.
Also, Ray, the print is so easy to read.
Thank you.
Oh, she does an excellent job.
Thank you, Roxy. I'm glad you were able to join the meeting, Roxy. I'm sorry.
Finally, but you don't see me.
It's okay. We're glad that you're here. That's fine.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Okay, any comments on the minutes?
Actually, I read it. It's all, you know, whatever we talked about.
We have a motion to accept?
I move that the minutes be accepted.
Second.
Okay.
Is there a second, I guess? Is that?
A second.
Second by Esther? Okay. All right, great. Thank you. And we'll make sure we keep with the large print and the concise minutes. So thank you. And thank you to Ray for putting those together. Okay, the next item on the agenda is our review of a discussion rather of a formation of a program advisory group. This has come to our forefront lately to the work that Marina has been doing with all of our Zoom programming. And I would like Marina to talk a little bit about what she's been seeing.
Well, we've gone through 9 months of trying to get our community on the Zoom platform, and I think we have succeeded. And we had to be creative, and I always asked our. I have to close the door. I'm sorry. And we had to be creative, and we didn't almost always know what to do. And we have received a tremendous support from our Zoom community, and some advices and some ideas were great. Like, for example, Arlene Smith, your idea about creating and trying to support the group of pet owners. I'm going to run with it in January, trying to get people together. That was wonderful. And we received many other ideas, and we keep receiving them. And we decided that to make sure that we have that constant and regular connection with our Zoom community, and the community in general, when we go off Zoom and still keep the hybrid, would be extremely good idea to have. So we came to the idea of having a group of volunteers who are regular users of our activities and our participate in our group discussions perhaps, and the people who are willing to spend some time with us and to discuss new approaches, to discuss how effective what we do is, and how to make it more effective and more meeting more needs and more suitable to the needs of our community. So we will be inviting people to join. We're thinking about people either meeting weekly or maybe bi-weekly, and keep it very informal. Just a discussion about what do we need to have in senior center within the frames of what we can do and what we can deliver, because we're still Department of Town Hall, which I sometimes forget, but we're still there. And keeping that frame in the mind, still to be creative.
Right,
So, yeah,
right. So
that's pretty much it.
right. Thank you, Marina. So what we were thinking of is we have some volunteers who perhaps might be interested in sharing more on a more formal basis. And if we could, we're looking for your recommendation about forming this program advisory group, and then hopefully have somebody from the board be a liaison to that to bring their message back to the board and report back on their offerings.
Thank you, Anne-Marie.
Is there any discussion on that?
You know, whatever the programs are, it's presented on Zoom. And people who don't have Zoom and cannot have, I mean, they don't participate.
Right.
Actually, we have very good programs, but you know, people, because of the Zoom, they don't participate.
Right. And that's also something, and that piece of it, the reaching out to those who are more isolated is a good piece for all of the board members actually to discuss and figure out strategy about how best to do this. This group that Marina is presenting is a, if you will, ad hoc sort of advisory work group, if you will, who can help her and, you know, to design some other things and get some community feedback on some other great programs. And then to, like I said, have a liaison to the board, a board member beyond as the liaison to then, you know, funnel that information back to the group. Any other thoughts on that?
I think it's a wonderful idea. I'd love to volunteer.
That would be great. That would be great. Yep. And we're, you know, so if that's something that you think should move forward, I think we'd be looking for a motion to actually form this group as a program advisory work group.
I make a motion that we form this program advisory group to work ad hoc, not any specific delineation of how much time, but and someone would get back to the Council on Aging about what was discussed.
I second the motion.
That'd be great. Arlene, thank you for that second. Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, well, thank you for that. And I'm pleased that we were able to move that forward. I think Marina will, there you go, Marina. Let's, you know, see how about who else we can bring forward to the table and help with those conversations and continue to create great Zoom programming, other programming, and then of course, discuss with the board about outreaching to others. So thank you for that. Okay, good. So we'll be in touch.
Included in that, is there sort of a suggestion that since Carol brought it up, that you might be kind of an interim chair to kind of get that thing going a little bit?
You need to take yourself off mute.
Carol, we can't hear you.
She's
I'm
muted.
sorry,
Here you
if
go.
mine wouldn't come off, but I'd love to do that. To be the interim chair. That we can elect another chair once it gets going. But I'd be happy to work with Marina on this.
Excellent.
We want a liaison. We want a liaison. We want it to, you know, we don't want to overburden you with that. But we want somebody from the board to liaison with the group, and the group, the responsibilities of the group will be the programs only. The board has much more wider and more, you know, solid role. So, but we will be happy to have you, Carol.
Thank you.
Good. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Carol, and thank you for everybody for that. So the next item on the agenda is the outreach and communication efforts. So kind of on the heels of that as well, we just wanted to sort of be able to answer any questions or discuss what our outreach and communication efforts are currently so that everybody is aware. Throughout COVID, we have still published our monthly newsletter. Marina is the lead person on that. She designs it. She gathers all the information. She arranges all the speakers. The program advisory group will be a great help in filling those slots. And you know, that is, we publish about 2,500 of them, and they are sent to our mailing list. It's an opt-in mailing list. If there are people who you know who would like to be on the mailing list, have them call the Senior Center. I know some of you on the board have requested multiple copies to your address because you're giving them to your neighbors and your friends. And we think that's fantastic because with COVID and everything, you know, we used to drop them off at every single church and so many other places that just are not, you know, obviously not open right now, or at least are not seeing the same numbers of people that they had. So we do still drop bunches off at different places. You know, the food pantry gets a bunch, housing obviously gets a bunch. Some of the restaurants and whatnot who are, you know, still are seeing customers, we have, you know, continued to keep them on our list. Margie, you probably have a good idea about who else we're still sending group pieces to.
Yeah, the library gets it. Watertown Savings Bank, a couple of their branches are getting it. Francis Market is getting them. Some of the assisted living areas we're still sending out to the residents. I think it's the Gables, you know, on North Beacon Street. I think it's North Beacon. Yeah. And various different groups we're sending them out to just so they know what's going on at the senior center. And, you know, a lot of them do have either some kind of phone or some kind of computer that can join some of these exercise groups or lectures or whatever we're having.
And that's great. And I appreciate that. So we probably, I want to say the list is almost 1,500 people who we actually send out in the mail to directly to their house. And then there are multiple packages. I want to say about 24 packages that go out in the mail to different groups that we ship to. And we're always happy to add more people to that. We send out another, I think there's close to 600 people on the Notify Me list, which is through the town. I encourage everybody to be on that list. If you don't know how to use Notify Me, please call the Senior Center and we can walk you through it. The biggest hitch on that is that once you say through Notify Me that you want, you know, you can sign up for every notification through town. You just have to then go in your email and say, yes, I actually did do that, and confirm that. And some people forget that last step. But we send a lot of electronic communication out. About a month ago, I started sending out not only the monthly newsletter as a blast, but also now a weekly blast, which I do believe everybody has been getting at the end of the week for the following week. That gives a quick snapshot of what's happening for the week, some additional links that might be helpful, and then any sort of new update that might have happened, or a reminder, like for instance, the shuttle bus, which we'll talk about later. So we have the Notify Me system, the hard copies, and of course our Facebook page. We run two, as you all know. We have one for the Watertown Council on Aging as well as for the Watertown Food Pantry. We just want to make sure that people understand that we do have that, all those different vehicles, and we're always happy to add more people to the list, you know, if people are interested. So we just want to get that word out. We continue with our birthday card program. Margie's been great. Members who are in our My Senior Center system, if we have your information, and some people don't give us their birthday information, which is fine. But if we do have it, Margie has a great volunteer group who signs, seals, and delivers via mail birthday cards. How many would you say about a month, Margie?
Somewhere around maybe 90.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's really great. I mean, all of us can attest to the phone calls and notes that we've gotten where they say, oh my goodness, you remembered our birthday. Thank you so much. So it's a really nice vehicle. It's a nice check-in. They're reminded, you know, that we're thinking of them and that we're here if we can be of any assistance. You know, and we're looking forward to doing some things around holidays as well for those for those people who we have the information for, and sending more cards and letters out. Margie's working on that right now. Anybody have any questions about that or other ways? This is obviously a great way, and I'm thrilled that we're able now via Zoom, you know, to broadcast our meetings. We've been talking to the staff about how we might be able to put more things on cable access. Anybody have any other thoughts on that?
I don't don't know if right now is appropriate to bring this up, but as we go into the winter season, I worry about people's mental, joy, or, having them go into depression. And so I was thinking of a couple of things. I do I have done intergenerational programming. So I was answering a survey for the Marshall Home Fund. And one of the things I brought up, which is very similar to what you're talking about, the birthday card, would be some kind of a pen pal type of, or a card or a little note or whatever, that might go out to some folks who don't have a partner, and are not able to get out. So it would be just a way to reach out to them and give them a little something in the mail that they ordinarily wouldn't get. Or since you mentioned that you send out information via the computer, then could we have like a little joyful thoughts? I mean, I think it was very nice that you started asking people to write a little essay on things that they like that's going to go into the newsletter. So, I noticed that some of my friends send jokes around, or other little lighthearted things. Do you think that, just kind of a reaching out to you type of essay that we could create would work, or people would be interested in? Or I just think that we should kind of up the ante on trying to reach people during the winter months.
Yeah, I really like what you're saying there. I think, because I run into people every once in a while who fall through the cracks, who don't fit into the Zoom world.
Yeah.
And and those people often are just more isolated. So I'm real concerned about them. I would like it too. Now I know this wasn't exactly in what you were saying, but maybe that could be expanded a little bit, just a thought, to include the pen pal who might give a call to somebody once a week or every few weeks, perhaps, just how you doing, small talk kind of stuff, because that means a lot to a lot of people, just to have a brief conversation. I don't know how that fits into your thoughts.
We already have
any way to communicate with other people, because and especially those folks who are not computer literate. My friends and I have spoken about the fact that this pandemic, at least, is in an era where we can get on the computer. We can Google stuff. We can see plays or concerts or something like that. What if you don't have that? Then you are more isolated, and the day can be extremely long.
We have a project which has been going for last 4 months at least. We have a volunteer who is on a regular basis conversing with 1 or 2 people. So every Thursday she calls at a certain time. Those people, she talks to them, she reads books to them. And we were wondering maybe that programming committee would be interested in picking up the initiative and replicating the experience we have, because we need volunteers for that. And it's quite successful. The connection and friendship is built, and both parts are happy about this connection. So maybe advisory group will be able to help to expand this initiative.
Yeah, I think that would be great. When I talked to her, that volunteer in particular, had started out just as a check-in call, and then she realized that this person, or some of the clients she had, really enjoyed being read to, and now they're actually, going through books together and literally reading together. And I think that's really wonderful. It creates that sort of long-standing relationship. It's something I would definitely like to see happen. Even if it's just poetry. I talked to another council on aging today who actually has a poetry group, even if it's just, poems. but via the phone, something like that is nice. We had our lunch a couple weeks ago. If you noticed the sticker on it, if you participated, we said call Ray for the joke of the day. And I think they only got maybe 1 or 2 phone calls. But yeah, just any reason for people to stay connected, I think is a good idea. And if you, whatever new ideas you have, send them forward.
I think that making it part of the advisory committee is a good idea too.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we've got volunteers, they may want to do something like this. We could just present it to them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I see that as kind of 2 separate things, though. You know, there's the advisory group who kind of comes up with ideas, and at least this is the way I would envision it. And then there are the people who do the connecting with people, which is kind of a different kind of a personality in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are a lot of people, I think, there are a lot of people in my mind who would like to do things, you know, like call someone or read poetry or those things that you described, which I think is a wonderful thing. I'm not saying anything about value of them. I'm just saying they're different functions in my mind.
Yes, they are. But that might be one of the, advisory committee can advise on what is the best way to do it, right? How to find volunteers who might be interested. That, because my experience as a program coordinator is limited to what I do here and to my human experience, right? And we want to tap into the experience of people who have been here for a long time, who have different viewpoints. And this is what I miss, because I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. And then I start talking to some of you and, nah, maybe not, you know, or vice versa. So we need that kind of.
I think that one of the first things you're going to need to do is decide on a way that you can find out who are the hard to reach that might benefit from some type of an outreach.
Mm-hmm.
So would you go through Springwell? Would you go through Brigham House? Would you go through the residents at Watertown Square? Or would you go just through the people who are members of the Council on Aging to find out, to say, is there anyone that you know who would find the winter extremely difficult? Would they be willing to receive a card or to get a telephone call or just some little remembrance that they're thought of? So I think if you find out that there's a need out there, then I do think that it would be fairly easy for you to come up with some volunteers.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Arlene, and I think the answer to all of that is all of the above. Because I liked how you mentioned, I see Esther nodding. I liked how you mentioned, you started the conversation by saying that everybody, your friends, everybody, we all are seeking that interaction. And I think, of course, we can put a call out and say, if you'd like to actually be on a list to have a call. And sometimes when we've done that, we'll get families who say, I live in Arizona, but my mom's in Watertown. Can you just call her? And our caseworker, Jenya, has been doing some of that work. So we will work with Jenya and we can reach out to some of the larger groups, but I would think that it was probably more all of the above, where all of us would benefit from that. So I think that's a good starting point, and it's going to be a nice long list, I think. So we're going to need a lot of volunteers.
To be able to help, I have to drive to those places, but I have neighbors who need me. I call them every day, 4 neighbors. And also some of our friends from senior center who cannot come anymore because of sicknesses. When you call them, they're so happy. Or if you write a note to them, for example, May, I don't know if you remember May Nigorosian.
Mm-hmm.
She's so happy when you write a note. And she misses her friends. When she responds, she says, say hi to everybody.
Good.
And also some people who participated to activities, like someone who find my number, and I have her number now, I have to communicate with her. And Beverly from the senior center, Beverly, who every morning used to be there, now she's depressed because she's not feeling well and she needs somebody to talk. I
Right.
mean, from home also you can do those kind of things.
Right. Yeah, thank you for reminding us of that, Roxy. And I think anybody who's on this call, anybody who's listening to this call, if you just take, the next few minutes on the next day and call 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 people and just check in with people and watch that list grow. I think that's also how we're going to start that movement. Make sure that everybody gets some sort of connection from the senior center contact. So thank you, Roxy. And I know you've been supporting the folks in your building for quite a while, and I appreciate that as all of you have for your friends and your family.
Thanks.
Okay, so we've got some good work to do. So on that note, we go from outreach and communication efforts to shuttling people to the grocery store in terms of outreach. And I think Margie wanted to provide a report on how the senior shuttle's been running and what we have plans for the holidays.
Okay, thanks. So the senior shuttle's been running for about 2 months now. And we are averaging anywhere between 8 and 12 people each week. I guess expected more people that might want to go. But people, as they get more comfortable now, unfortunately, the number's not going down, they're going up. I can understand them wanting to be safe, and they, seem to have somebody who's going to be able to help them get groceries. So, I'm comfortable with that. The shuttle is there for people who want to ride. We sent out a letter a couple weeks ago, just as a reminder to anybody who had ridden the shuttle from like July of 2019 to current, just as a reminder that it's there to give us a call on Friday for the following week. So that's all we can do, is just remind them that, the shuttle is available. What we did a couple of weeks ago is I sent out a letter to, again, those I call existing riders from July of 2019 to current, telling them we would like to do something with holiday shopping locally. And we provide them with a couple of choices, and then an other option where they could tell us where maybe they would like to go. So I received quite a few back, and based on their requests to go places, we've set up for the month of December that we're going to do 2 trips to Target into the mall area. And we'll do 2 trips of each day. So there'll be opportunity for people to do that. And they just need to call, and hopefully we'll be able to take everybody who wants to go. We've set up 2 trips, again, 2 runs a day. And we're going to go to Market Basket, and they can go into Marshall's in Waltham if they want to do some shopping there. And we've also set up 2 days, 2 trips each day to Russo's in Ocean State. And then we have 1 trip that will go to Trader Joe's, and 2 bus runs will go there. So hopefully we'll, be able to get some of the seniors out to do some holiday shopping. And of course, we normally go to the Stop and Shop in Watertown Square, which has CVS and the bank, so they can do, some shopping there as well. So hopefully, we'll have people who will take us up on this.
That's great. Thanks, Margie.
Sure.
Anybody have any questions on that? Because as you know, we're still following all the COVID restricted guidelines, and there's only 4 riders plus the driver on each run. We're trying to keep everybody safe and spread out on that bus, and trying to get people where they need to go. And you're right, Margie, the numbers are a little lower than we thought, because we have definitely have time in the schedule and some space to still help people out, which is why we added these choices. But we understand, and we're here if people need us. We're just glad that the operation can run within the restrictions. You have a question, Tom?
Yeah, can I piggyback onto that a little bit? And it's not quite the same as what you're talking about, transportation, but it's related to it. And it's that the sort of the basic health concerns that we see published every once in a while. I wonder if we're sufficiently, or whether there's a need to somehow be a conduit for that information. It sounds like you do on your bus rides, or at least you are by practice anyhow. But what I'm thinking of is that you know, every few weeks there seems to be a slight adjustment to the health recommendations.
Mhm.
And I'm just thinking of someone who might be a bit isolated, might not be kind of hooked into that chain. And how do we put that effort forward? I'm not saying that very articulately, but like, how do we help out with that process?
You mean, so your question is about how do we reach that person to let them know that the bus is available for the most
No.
part? Or what? I'm
More
sorry.
than that. More than that. It's sort of like, you know, I can't hold something up in front of you here, but the 12 basic rules of maintaining our distance. And well, like for instance, over the last 10 days or so, people have made it very clear that we should be extra careful when we celebrate the holidays, particularly Thanksgiving, Christmas, you know, the next 2 months, because there's the tendency to say, well, I know about all those precautions, I know about all those masks, but it's a holiday. We've been always getting together, you know, and so we get together with 12 people in my grandmother's house, and we know that that's a spreader event.
Right.
You know, we've learned those definitions, and I'm wanting to say somehow, hey, folks, just remember they're spreader events, no matter, even
Right.
if it is your tradition.
Right.
Like for instance, I've been getting together with the same people for 30 years for Thanksgiving. We're not doing it in person this year.
Right.
We're doing it all online. I mean, we've changed our, you know, our time-honored tradition.
Mhm.
And I want other people to know about that so they can take care of themselves.
Right. I know that I
Yeah.
think the health department has been putting a lot of information forward, but it's true. And I think that alone is also, in a good way, is what keeps our bus numbers down, is people do understand that. So even though we have this service and we thought we could serve, up to 20 or more people a week, or 30 more people a week, people understand that. Because before, we had, 40, 50 people a week on the bus, and those people have all found different ways to do what they need to do, or they've decided to stop. So I think a lot of people have heard the right messages and they have stopped. So I think I would be more worried if we had the phone ringing off the hook and a huge waiting list. And see Margie agreeing with me.
Yeah.
I wonder if there are ways to get that whatever that information is somehow duplicated and out to people in the forms, the access that we have to us, to the people, to seniors.
You know, the reason my neighbor doesn't go, usually she used to go Stop and Shop. Now she says, I can take care of 3 bags. And the driver now is not able to help us getting down and toasting. That's the reason I cannot go.
Right. I mean, those were part of the precautions that were put in place.
Yeah. That's why she is not going.
Right.
But her son, I guess, got an angel, they called, I don't know, a person to come twice a week, so that she takes her shopping, she takes her, sometimes to the restaurant, or I don't know, she spends some time with her.
That's almost a better thing, because she's got a companion and she's able to go other places. But I just wanted to say that 3-bag limit has been in existence forever. That is not just for COVID-19. The limitation of having a bus driver help with the bags, we've kind of had to do that just to make sure everybody's safe, but the amount of grocery bags hasn't really changed.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But I think that's great, like you said too, Margie, that she does have a companion now. I mean, clearly it's good that, those are conversations that we do have to have with a lot of families and a lot of people who do use our services, that sometimes it is better and safer for them to find a companion to help them, because our bus driver cannot offer that service. He wasn't really able to offer that service before. I think he did it if he could, but that becomes a safety issue. So I am glad that her family stepped up and that she's still, being able to do what she needs to do. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so any more thoughts on the bus? Our drivers, Jim and Bob, are doing a great job, and we'll let you know next month what the return was on if there's any holiday shopping needs. And I appreciate Margie's time on organizing that schedule. Okay. Member items, do any members have anything to share? And after that, we will go to any audience members with any thoughts. Tom.
Yeah, I got a couple things. Just I want to kind of loop back into what we were just talking about, but this is not about the bus.
Okay.
This is something that came up in my mind about the bus, and I'm just going to repeat what I said, is there a way for us to get a simplified version of the current health rules distributed from the senior center via the newsletter and also on our site?
Okay.
I don't, I guess I would like to see those 10 points if possible. I don't even know what they are, but
So if I can
but
interject, the ones that like the health department had out at the beginning of COVID, when the town manager would send his letter out and all the COVID information, we'd like to see more of that in the newsletter. And
I'd like to see a simplified version of that because
Okay.
it changes every few months. It changes,
okay, we can work
and
with the
so
health.
whatever they put out at the beginning of the virus is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about an updated current version, like what you might see in the Globe, but simplified. That says, recently I heard them say very clearly, if you can find a way to not attend social gatherings, large, people outside your household, period. No equivocation in talking about, well, they're such nice people and I haven't seen them for such a long time and they just live across the street. It's like, if they're not in your household, they're not part of your bubble, you're going to get infected. Simple things like that. So that's my recommendation, that it be in the newsletter, for the next several months until we're vaccinated.
Okay.
And then also in the newsletter and also on the site.
Okay.
Straightforward, simple, basic stuff, not a page long of something that was stolen from the health department.
Okay. Well, Marina and I will work with the health department though to get that the best language that they have out there possible and distill it in the right way. Yeah, we'll work with them to get that information out there. Thank you for that.
That's a very good idea, because I think what you need is something simple, Tom, and to the point, so that people will take the time to take a look at it. And I think that one of the things you might want to add to that would be how to handle your grandchildren. Because it so depends on whether they are in class or they're not in class. And, it's very hard to not hug them, not kiss them, this, that, and the other thing. So I think that if you could try and get people on board, or just some words of wisdom as to how you can still be a very important member of the family, but yet keep yourself safe.
That's very nice. We will get that language as well. Thank you,
Maybe
Arlene.
the spin is how you can safely do it rather than don't do,
Yeah, that's
to try
right.
to spin it that way, to, give them tips if they really need to do it. Here's the safe way of doing it.
Right.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Any other items to share from the membership?
Yeah, I've had a thought, recently with the Me Too movement, it's kind of wakened us up to all the discrimination. I don't know the proper vocabulary for this, but the discrimination that we have sort of built into our lives about all kinds of sexual, religious, all the differences of our world and how we become sort of narrowed and think, people as we age, myself included, become more focused, not broader minded. And I'm wondering if there's a way we can, first of all, include that subject in our programming.
Okay.
For one thing, but also us as a board.
It's included.
Thank you.
It's included.
Thank you. You weren't on my picture at the moment, so I didn't respond to you. Thank you.
Subject in your programming, and what else?
And then also us to somehow figure out we as the board, to outreach is maybe not quite the right word here, but essentially I'll just say it. You guys have to figure out what I'm talking about. Is outreach to the community so that we bring in more people for participation and for the board.
Ah, I see what you're saying. Okay.
It's like, because we all look pretty much alike here, except I'm a guy, you know. But
Thank goodness.
All old.
yeah, I've noticed. Yeah, well, never mind. But yeah, and so it's like, hey, there are more. You know, our discrimination is sort of built into us without us realizing it, and it's like there must be other kinds of people in this world in our Watertown premises, and I'd like them to be here. And I don't even know what those people are. Those people.
No,
I'm doing it
absolutely
myself.
agree with you. I do. I agree with you. And yes, that is something that we've talked about and we are striving for. So Maureen and I will continue that discussion.
We will be in the newsletter. You will when it comes out, and it's on the way to the senior center right now. You will see that we have 2 webinars dedicated to the boosting civil activity of seniors. And there is an organization which is called Discovery, and the head of this organization, his name is David Gaiden, if I'm not mistaken, will be presenting on December 8th and on December 23rd about civil activism among the seniors and how to find your purpose and what are the avenues and vehicles to seniors can use to play more active role in the civil society.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's
Yep.
great. You know, just a little factoid that I was talking about a friend in London with him the other day about the impact of the COVID virus on our society and our culture. And what he's a business person. And so he was saying, and I think it's true here in the United States, that the people who are losing their jobs tend to be predominantly women and minorities. And so what he was saying is that there's a lot of people up in arms in London about the fact that it's sort of pushing the whole rights movement for women and for people of minorities, maybe not minorities, but people who are discriminated against, pushing that back 20 years. And I'd like us to say, hey, wait a minute, you know, I'm a human being, a thinking human being, and we can somehow contribute to helping that problem along. I don't even know what to say about that, but we're smart people. That's what I'm always surprised at. There are a hell of a lot of smart people who are attending the senior center, and it's like we're an untapped resource for all kinds of good things. And I'm saying I'd like that to be top of the list.
Agreed.
Yep, we are starting this conversation. Yes, yes. And that's the outcome of one or series of, Tom, your conversation group result. I chased this guy for a month and he wouldn't answer my emails and phone calls, and finally he did. So next month in December, we're having 2 seminars.
Great. I like that idea. And
Thank you.
Kind of tied with that, I want to just make another thing, and then I'll kind of release the microphone from my tired little hands here. I was looking at the list of board members that you sent out to us, and I just kind of ambled through them with my eyes and saw how much time people have committed to their involvement on this board. You know, I mean, I'm a newbie. I've been here for a year roughly. But the people that I see who have spent, and I don't want to necessarily go down the list and embarrass anybody, but people who have spent great numbers of hours on this board, and I can just imagine all kinds of dedicated effort that they've done. And there's no pay, as you know, we're not getting a big pay for this thing. But I want to just acknowledge to the world, I guess, that this is an incredible contribution, and I think it's extremely valuable. And it's something that I personally am benefiting from, and I know a lot of other people are too. So I just want to acknowledge that there are a list of a whole lot of people who've spent years and years supporting the effort of this board, and I think it's terrific.
Great. Thank you, Tom, for that. And I
Thank
know I
you.
can tell on behalf of the staff and everybody, we could not agree more. So thank you. And there are people who have come before this group and who have since retired from this group who, you know, everybody's efforts in the last, you know, 3 decades or more who have participated as Council on Aging board members. We really appreciate everybody's time and interest and support. It's truly made a great difference. So thank you, Tom, for recognizing that. Thank you. Okay, so with that then, I think I'll open it up if there's anybody from the community who has any comment or like to share anything. I don't see any. Ray, do you have anything, any emails or anything that need to be addressed? That came in through the chat, Ray? Do you have any emails that came in through the chat at all? No? Okay.
Anne Marie?
She's
Yes?
unmuting herself.
I don't.
Okay. All right. All right, well then,
Could I say something?
yes, of course.
Marina has been talking to me about
Wait,
the,
can you identify yourself, please, for the rest of the group?
I'm sorry, Helen Dempsey,
And can you share your address with us, please?
34 Quincy Street.
Okay.
Marina has been talking with me about the program advisory group. I think it's a great idea. I think there are already a lot of good ideas, and I think it will be wonderful.
That's great. Thank you, Helen. We look forward to working with you and any other folks who might be interested in helping move the programs forward. Thank you for that. Any other comments? Yes, I see a hand. Yep, Sharon Schumack.
Hi, I'm Sharon Schumack. This is my first time attending a meeting, and I agree that the work of the new programming committee will be great moving ahead. And I'm a member of Watertown for All Ages, and we're interested in helping to increase people's awareness about the great programs at the senior center and thinking about how we can help identify some new needs and interests. So we'll be staying in touch.
That's great. Thank you, Sharon. For the record, can you state your address for us?
71 Barnard Avenue.
That's great. Thank you, Sharon. Great. Okay, well, with no further comment, I just invite you all to, I will have a coffee with the director in December. We're going to be discussing about looking ahead. So if anybody's watching who wants to participate in that, we invite everybody to participate on that Zoom piece or give us a call and share your thoughts with me. I know there's a lot of talk, as we all know, that the school building committee has moving forward with their plans still in conversation. I do believe there's another meeting tonight at 6 o'clock where they're talking about all the other buildings that are being built in addition to the high school project near the end of the meeting. They're still trying to put their massing plans together and you know, multiple renditions of what that building would look like. And as you all know, they're looking at the property that the senior center sits on as part of that, and how we would be enveloped into that project. So I would say stay tuned. A lot more discussion that's going to happen with that. And you know, as we move forward, there'll be many more meetings, and I hope community meetings as well. You know, as we look forward to the future, which is an exciting time. Other than that, look for the newsletter at the next couple weeks. Or next, I say 5 to 7 days should be out in the mail, I hope. And encourage your friends and everybody to, you know, to join the Notify Me system, keep up with our stuff, and call us with any questions. Okay. All right. Do you have a question, Carol?
No, just thank you for all you're doing.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you all. Okay, well, with that, then happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and I wish you all a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Are we making a motion to adjourn?
Oh,
Yes.
Sorry about that.
we're
I
back.
so move.
Could have.
Tom?
I move
Oh.
that move that we adjourn.
I
Okay,
second it.
Carol. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Happy Thanksgiving.
See you guys. Take care.